Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bigfoot Zone, ECBRO. We want to invite you to share this podcast around, and also, if you have not done so, please take advantage and subscribe to this YouTube channel. That way, every time we go live or there's a new video that's uploaded, you get the notification. Don't forget, click that little bell icon. Thank you guys, and prepare for a new episode. The ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Conference sponsors. Do you ever wonder what it is that goes bump in the night? Do you ever wonder what gives you the chills? Do you ever wonder where that scream came from? Do you ever wonder what that shadow figure is standing there staring at you? Ladies and gentlemen, sit back as we bring you the Paranormal Society and the Twisted Realm.
All right, well, welcome back, guys. Well, I hope that wasn't overdoing it, but
Great intro.
yeah, like I said, I like to get creative and have a little fun, and so well, I'm glad I finally got you guys on here. This is awesome. I think we're gonna have a great time with our discussion and what we go over tonight. So, and just for those viewing. As I tell you guys all the time, questions are welcome. And as I see them come up, I'll try my best to watch them. I'll pop them up on the screen, and then we'll go from there. Um, so we have Lyle and Tana Lotz and Brandon with us tonight from the Twisted Paranormal Society. Sorry. Yeah, did I say that right?
You got that right, brother. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. As much as I post it everywhere, I should memorize it. So, yeah. So anyway, guys, to start off, I was debating on where I wanted to start with this. I think we're gonna get a little history. I want to get some history on you guys before we go any further. You guys been doing paranormal research and investigations for a long time. I was wondering if you guys want to kind of fill us in on what got you started and how what led up to all this, and yeah, just take it from there. Whoever wants to start, I'll leave it up to you guys. So
Sure. Well, Twisted Paranormal Society came around in July 2011. So we are getting ready to hit 12 years.
Yeah.
On this, and it came together. Tana and I, we used to sit and watch paranormal shows a lot, and but we always had a passion with it. And it's like we wanted to see if we could become a part of a team or something to see if we could enjoy what was going on and what we were watching. And we checked some of the local teams in the area. They were full, and we ended up getting some guidance from another fellow that helped us get our team going. And that's when the old Twisted Paranormal Society kicked into gear in September of 2011 is when we started doing investigations. And from that point on, we just kept going and going. And I think within, God, I was trying to keep track of investigations within like a 2-year period.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was a lot.
I mean, hitting it. And, just trying to learn, trying to get our foot in the door, get ourselves and learning everything that goes on. And so really that's where our start, my start, really, it was just from the fascination of the field. I never really had anything happen. I know Tana can tell you a little bit different story, and then I know Brandon can tell you a little bit different story themselves as well when it goes to that. So
I was kind of around this type of thing since I was young. My mom, when I was, I guess, late childhood, was already she was studying parapsychology. So I was kind of around that. I know as I got older, my mom told me that one of the houses we lived in, which is actually in this area, was haunted. So I always kind of wondered and had a fascination about it. So I guess when it came to find out that we could actually do this to see if it was real or not, that's kind of what made us jump in.
That's what keep going in this thing and keep going. So, and then the guy sitting down below there, he's
that leopard
field for quite some time himself too. So, talk, Mr. Panda.
Well, I was gonna call him a leprechaun, but okay.
There's a story behind the panda name, but no.
Okay.
Then investigating for a while, I was with another group previous, and then I left to kind of go do my own thing for a while. And I've kind of halfway knew Lyle, and we ended up. It was funny. We're at, I think it was at the gym we first met, and then we met at Food Lion. And I'm like, hey, dude. I'm no longer, I'm on my own now. And, if I float you some evidence, can you just kind of look over it, and one thing led to another, and I ended up carrying a camera for the realm. And rest is history, I guess. But as far as like paranormal encounters, when I was 10 years old, I had my very first encounter at a hotel called the Chamberlain in Hampton, Virginia. Very long story short, saw a little boy disappear. He got up in front of us, walked away, and then he was gone. And there was me, my mom, and my dad saw that when I was a kid. And ever since then, I guess I've been kind of chasing it. That was 2000. So here we are now. But it's been a hell of a ride. And when I linked up with these guys up here, that ride just went to an all-time 10. It's been
crazy,
nonstop for, man, what is it, like how many years now?
Nonstop.
Yeah, it's been going pretty strong, man. Bender, what's up, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I mean, are getting, from as long as I've known you, you guys, for one thing, you guys always fascinated me from the beginning, and you guys have projects left and right. You guys stay busy, that's for sure. So, and you guys just came back from a cruise. I don't know if that was for vacation or for work,
It was a part of this right here. I mean,
okay.
It was called the Dark Waters Cruise. We took some of our haunted nights special guests that we have, and some of their fans and some of our fans and people that we enjoy spending time with, and we hit the high seas and went down to Mexico, over to Grand Caymans, and then back. We had a blast for 5 days together. So, definitely a good time.
Awesome. Yeah, I've seen a lot of the pictures between what you guys posted, Brandon, and I think even Natalie posted a few pictures here and there. But you guys had some good stuff there.
Oh yeah,
so,
it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our big project is, right now is when we do our events and stuff with Haunted Nights. So that's kind of like where we get a chance to be able to investigate with a lot of people that want to come in and do it with us. That's kind of where it started with Haunted Nights. It was because people requested to come and investigate with us, and it's like, what can we do to make that happen? And we just taught the three of us just put our heads together and said, let's create something. And we started back in 2018, I think. Is when we did our first Haunted Nights event, and we've been going strong ever since. So that's into 5 years almost.
Yeah.
So got a big year coming up this year. We already had a couple events. We got a big one next weekend up in Gettysburg. And, but that's kind of like our weekend adventure type thing of going and having fun, investigating with people, and showing people what we do. So.
Okay, so the week. So you said next weekend, the weekend of the 25th. Yeah, so I'll be doing some investigation as well. I was originally planning. I was supposed to be up in Northwest Pennsylvania myself, but it was almost on the Ohio line. I was going up to support and attend a friend of mine's event, and I just had to make the decision. I was like, no, I can't do it right now because financially I had to watch stuff, but I have, and not just that, just my time off of work, because a lot of my PTO is stretched out through the year already because I already have a lot of it scheduled. So, I'm going camping next weekend. So me and a buddy of mine's coming up from Lexington, and we're going to be out for a few days. So I figured why.
We'd like to do, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to be camping. We're going to be camping in that very same area. So we'll see what happens. Looking out on the 10-day forecast, the weather temperature wise is going to be nice, but I think there's a slight chance of rain on Saturday, I think. But because we're getting out there Friday morning, and I won't be coming home till Monday. I don't think he can stay as long as I am, but I have Monday off too, so I'll be leaving sometime Monday to come home. But but now as far as your events go, you guys have these now. Well, let me ask you: all these events you go to, are they just to do investigations, or do you use these for filming as well? Because that's another thing I wanted to bring up is that you guys actually have a TV show. So
a couple of them.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I was working my way up to some of them, but
this back in December when we did our St. Albans event. We did incorporate the Friday night where we spent some time and filmed our second episode of Hometown Haunts. Of course, you were the star of the first episode of Hometown Haunts, The Beasts of ELKHORN Lake, of course, featuring Daniel Benoit. But the second one we filmed in December. It's all complete. It's ready. Paraflix has it, and we're waiting for a press release on that, and called The Connection. It kind of is based off of, if anybody has watched and knows, the Twisted Paranormal Society or Twisted Realm and stuff, know that, and if you've heard of Destination Fear, well, they featured Tana's story from St. Albans back in the first season. Yeah. And we wanted to go back and see if we could do more on that story. And we found another young lady there that kind of has had the same similar things. And so we interviewed her. I mean, basically within 3 hours, we interviewed her, we filmed her, and we probably came away from there with some of the best evidence we've had in a long time when it comes to audio. Stuff, and we did. It was awesome, and I can't wait to share that with people on Paraflix. It's getting ready. It should be coming out here within the next couple of weeks. Like I say, we're just waiting on that press release. But if you don't have Paraflix, I know Daniel, you've promoted Paraflix a lot since we did that first episode with you. But check it out. I mean, Paraflix we consider that the Netflix of the paranormal.
Right, yeah.
We've got a lot of great content on there. We've got our series, The Twisted Realm. We've got Hometown Haunts is on there. And it's just you can use the promo code HNCrew25, and that will get you 25% off of the subscription price. I think it was $39 for a year.
Yeah.
So basically, at 25% off, you're paying $30 for all the paranormal content you want. And these are people that are, in my opinion, they're just as good. They deserve to be on national networks, and we know we can't all be there, but the content is that good, and
Right.
we're happy to be a part of that. And
Yeah.
We don't film when we're doing events.
no, we don't normally do it. We just incorporated it at that time because Lisa was there.
Yeah.
And we had that Friday night available because Saturday night was the event. And so we did go down one night early just to do it. But normally with the haunted nights, we don't do any filming. We do those all separate, like yours. I mean, we want to be able to spend time to help document and interview you. Like we did it all with you in one day.
Right.
Interviews, and then we headed out to the woods. And that's what we kind of try to focus on. It's being able to do it all within a period of time. And get it done and produced and out there fast. So I'm excited. I mean, your episode was outstanding. I know I can't speak for all of us here, but I think we all thoroughly enjoyed spending time in the woods with you that night.
We did, yeah.
That was something we've never experienced. So.
And I would do it again now.
Well, hey, put in the calendar. I'm down.
I mean, even on the cruise, I know, like Natalie and them, they were talking about how well that Tana was doing the whoops.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, she can do those real good." They're trying to get her to do them on the boat, and it's like we're calling Bigfoot from the water. So.
And well, I must say, if you want to draw out Bigfoot, I'm kind of saying this as a joke, but then again, I'm really not.
Mm-hmm.
We need more females present.
Mm-hmm.
Telling you, it's the females. From my experiences, and not just mine, but other stories I've heard from others.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you firsthand all the different experiences I've had in that surrounding general area, from vocals to rocks being thrown. I mean, all this stuff that's happened to me and the things I've experienced, a lot of it is because there was always a female present. Back when my daughter was a teenager, young teenager, there's one particular area I used to walk in and hike in all the time by myself. I mean, I would find a few things interesting here and there, but never heard nothing. The day I brought my daughter into this one area, we got in so far, and all of a sudden we were hearing all these hoots and howls and screams, and Brianna was like, "Daddy, are those coyotes?" I was like, "No." So, I mean, this is the middle of like broad daylight, around noontime, and it was like going into a zoo, in the primate exhibit where they were just going ballistic. I mean, going crazy. So, but yeah, I mean, there's other things I've had with bringing other females out there in the past, and regardless if it's Bigfoot related or even wildlife related, but yeah, it's something to do with the female presence. I don't know if it's me and others discussed. We don't know if it's pheromones or what, but it always produces some kind of activity. So, but it's something to keep in mind. That's why I wanted to throw that out there, share with it. So
right. Well, I mean, when Tana did the whoops off the back of the truck, I mean, that's when things really started getting going.
Yeah.
You're right.
Fired up, and what was so interesting about the whole thing was the fact that we were experiencing paranormal stuff going on in that camp, as well as cryptid stuff.
Yeah.
And it just blew my mind. I mean, I could not believe that we were experiencing things that we feel in locations that we investigate right in that area. And whether it has to do with, Bigfoot being I've got my own thoughts, and I know you're professional in the cryptid field, and we're just new to this, and but we've always had this feeling. I've always had this feeling that it's part of. I don't know. It's got to be part of like that inner realm of things that
Right.
I think we all feel like it's something different, right, Brandon?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, the thing of it is, and I'm just looking at the comments here, and Josh, I will wear a dress next time and try that, so we'll see what happens. The thing of it is, I saw a comment up here saying one of them stated that they were out of their element in the woods. We all were.
Yeah.
We as paranormal investigators, I mean, we've investigated battlefields, we've investigated, plenty of places outside. But what makes this different is, we're looking for something that's physically maybe not still around. And the fact that, the thought in my mind was the entire time was, all right, what happens if this thing really does show up? Now, we're sitting here calling it, and I'm looking around, I'm like, what the hell are we gonna do when this thing shows up and starts like, hey, I'm here, and because if we see a full body apparition, we're gonna run towards it. If we hear a bang, we're gonna usually run towards it. But if a 12-foot tall hairy person's in front of me and I'm not drunk, then that's probably something I need to. And it was just something that we had a lot of expectations going into the woods, and we left with even higher expectations for next time, because we left with 1,000 more questions than when we walked in. And
well, I was already hanging pretty close to y'all, so I probably would have been in your arms had you actually come out. Because I was already like glued to your side.
And that's the thing about it, is it was curiosity. And I'm not saying we grow numb to the paranormal. We don't. We've been to the same place, like St. Albans, Octagon Mansion, done Laura in our area of the woods. We've been there multiple times, and we always enjoy going back because it's a new time. But there's some times where you go somewhere that's a paranormal related, and it's a big stick. You go somewhere and it's like, okay, if it knocks, it is what it is. If you hear like a little door squeak, it is what it is. But here it's like, all right, that tree just moved. All right, that branch just moved. All right, I heard that yell. And it's kind of like we're doing this for the very first time. You get that sensation of your first investigation.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. If any investigators out there, you know what it's like. Your first haunt, you're like, wow, I'm really doing it. And that's kind of how we were. You can see it in the footage. We're looking at each other like, we're really doing this. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all wanted to stay close to Daniel.
Yeah.
I can remember one time when we were right near the end of the investigation, when we were walking back down the road towards the camp. Tana came and just pushed me like right out of the way. I was like,
You guys wanted to stay close to me. Was I the only one armed out there?
I think Brandon had a knife, but that was about it. Yeah,
I'm sure my knife would have done a lot of good. Yeah.
Not to mention, I mean, from several different directions, we've heard movement, around us. What sounded like regular footfall, some close, some a little further away, which was definitely caught my attention a few times. But so, Josh is asking if you guys stayed overnight in the woods. No.
I'd love to. I know Brandon and I don't think Tana would, but I think Brandon and I have talked about going out with you sometime, Daniel, and doing this and doing a full overnight and camping, maybe doing a weekend adventure.
Right.
So, but no, we did not stay that night, and hey to everybody that's out there too that's chime in, Josh and
hello.
Let's see.
Supernatural Lost Adventures. What's up, Dan?
Dan's there. Got a lot of people out there. David Lester.
Look at it like this.
Yep.
Ability to restricted. Exactly.
In the woods.
Exactly.
Yeah. And just as what David was saying right there, I mean, when we were in the camp, And we all know in that camp, we were, once Tana started doing the calls and making the noises, and Daniel too. And, we had some audio recordings we were playing as well. And Brandon even played a UFO thing from NASA. We felt you could hear them like they were circling us.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was like we were being circled.
Yeah.
And you could feel the presence there. That's why I was relating this to the paranormal. Even though we couldn't see them, we could hear them and we could feel them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
Yeah.
I know for those that might not deal with the paranormal, it was a totally weird situation for us to experience that, along with the calls and the things that we were getting.
Yeah, absolutely.
For everybody in the chat that wants to do, who wants to do like a, we should Daniel, let's set it up. Anybody that chat that wants to do it, let's do a full weekend in the woods. Let's do it.
Well, for the record, I have scheduled camping events with people signed up for them. If that's something you guys want to participate in as well. I got one coming up. Yeah, I got one scheduled for the month of May, the 26th through the 29th. Then I already have another one with people already signing up for September. So that's
awesome.
So because that's one thing
we can incorporate, like with haunted nights and stuff, we could work together.
And absolutely.
We can make it a special event for people, and because if you have to experience this, and you have to experience it with this man right here. Daniel. No greater host, that's for sure.
Well, thank you. Now, like over on the chat, we got Melissa and David Lester. They've been camping with me before. They'll be joining me in May as well. So they're great. If you haven't met them, you may. I don't know. I think they've seen you. They may have met you. They've been at the last couple of events. So yeah.
We look forward to meeting a lot of your crowd. We love doing that event. I remember back when we first did it at the New Hope Pool. That's right. I believe how many people you had there, Daniel, in New Hope, Virginia. It blew my mind. So thank you, Natalie, honey. I'm hoping that we do the same thing in Weir's Cave come June. It's going to be a great event for people to come out and check out. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And the thing is about the New Hope, the old school there, I had my doubts about that, to be honest with you. It's just, we had plenty of space for everybody inside to listen to the speakers and everything, and that worked out great because we had actually ended up getting more than we expected because people actually had to bring their own chairs. So,
it's more than that than I have seen at paranormal conventions.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. The only downfall to that, I would have loved to have, all the vendors in a general area. Like we had several vendors out back, and there was a couple that had some minor complaints saying, well, we're not getting no traffic back here. I said, well, everybody's parking back there. They know you're back there, so, but overall it worked out great. I know I've had a lot of, from the people who attended, I did get a lot of positive feedback on that. So it made me feel better. It was a relief, because like I said, I had doubts about it. I was paranoid about every little thing going in different directions, but actually worked out great, so.
Right. I'm looking forward to Weir's Cave. I think that's such a nice area.
Yeah.
You got to have the parking lot will be packed. The inside will be packed. It's a lot of room. Yeah. Everybody will be able to see everybody this time. That's for sure.
Yeah. I even have some vendors that had signed up later that some of them you'll see a few of them outside by the food trucks. So that's my overflow section. So, I just signed up another food truck. Actually, they were with us back in last October. So I always feel like it's necessary. You got to have Mexican food there. So I got a Mexican food vendor. So, they have really great food. They're all family oriented. It's a family run business, and they cook their food. Of course, they cook their food fresh right there, but it's great stuff. So, because I still have more people inquiring about vendors, and and as you've probably noticed this, like mainly at the last June event, because I've always had you guys joining in and participating and everything.
Mhm.
As you see, there's other paranormal teams I'm trying to blend in. Yes, it's a Bigfoot convention, but there's a part of what I'm trying to do is blend it a little bit without trying to get too far off the topic. But
Right.
so because I know you have strictly Bigfoot and cryptid events, and then you have strictly just paranormal. But now you have all these other conventions, like the one I was going up to Pennsylvania to support. It's called the Penn Ohio Paranormal Conference. It's a lot of it's Bigfoot. Then you got UFO personnel and some and strictly paranormal people. It's a blend. So, but who knows? Maybe somewhere down the road, I might throw paranormal in. I mean, I'll put paranormal in the description, but I can't say I'll ever change the official name of the ECBR Virginia Bigfoot Conference.
I wouldn't change the name. I think I'd leave it the way it is. I mean, us paranormal people, we just love to come and be a part of it because, like I said, I feel like it's all tied together one way or another because we're
right.
always, the unknown. And I really feel like just from the new, the new stuff that was on Expedition Bigfoot right there at the end of that last season. I mean, their stuff is kind of starting to lean into that realm as well.
It is.
Right.
So, well, I can't wait for the next season to come out. I want to see how far they go with this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, with what you just said, I don't know the full name of it. I just know the abbreviation off the top of my head. I have it written down here because CPRI, I think it's Caroline or no, Cryptid Paranormal Research and Investigation or something, or maybe it's Caroline. But yeah, I spoke to a gentleman on the phone. His name is Rick. He's the one that runs this group. And a buddy of mine down in Southwest Virginia, somewhere down South Virginia, it put me in contact with him because this individual wanted to basically kind of do what you guys did, but without the filming, of course. Right. But they basically want to take the paranormal and see if there's a correlation between paranormal and the Bigfoot thing, and see if there's a connection. So that's a project they've been working on. He used to be part of the Dogman, some kind of Dogman project. But so yeah, he's looking at cryptids in general, but he wants to see if there is any connection. So we don't. There's no date. There's no date on that set yet, but he just wants to get a feel of what's in the area, so.
We can that it is. There's no doubt. So
absolutely,
when I mean, we definitely experienced it all. So, what's that? Hometown Haunts is a must-watch. Look at Miss Natalie on Paraflix is on here.
Yeah. Oh well, real quick, while she's giving a shout out for Hometown Haunts, I do want to make mention to everybody. If you have not found the Facebook page for Hometown Haunts, it is in the description. If those who are watching here, right here on YouTube, just go to the description and you'll see the link right there. It'll take you right to Hometown Haunts, and be sure to click like and follow on it. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So the link is provided.
Yeah, we've got our Hometown Haunts, and then of course we've got like my shirt here, the Twisted Realm this side. Okay, I get lost looking at the screen. Our Twisted Realm series, we've got a few episodes that are going to be hitting the Paraflix channel this year as well. So we're finishing up our season 2 on that, and then of course we're getting ready to hit the road again to do some more filming for Hometown Haunts as well. Yeah. So good stuff, and just is out there because I know on Facebook we trying to put it out there. If we're for Hometown Haunts, it's a little different for our series. It's we're trying to touch a little bit of everything. It's basically what it is. What haunts your town, or what legend is in your town? What cold case? What's just UFO cryptid type adventure that you can help provide documentation with us, and then we'll come and we'd love to talk with you and possibly be able to film your story.
Right.
Just kind of like what we did with Daniel. So you go,
Yeah.
you can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at and what we're wanting to do. And
Urban legends.
urban legends, it's touching it
Mhm.
all. It's not just paranormal anymore. It's
Yeah.
we're trying to work within that realm of the unknown,
Mhm.
and I think that consists with cryptid and UFO, urban legends, and things
Yeah,
like
Dan,
that.
I'm down for that. Dan
Yeah.
said the devil's tramping grounds, and that's something definitely.
Dan, you got to work it up for me, buddy,
Yeah.
so we can come down. We'd love that's for sure. And put you on hometown haunts. That's no doubt.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. So yeah, the blend of all the above that you mentioned. I mean, I think it's going to make things more exciting. Really,
Yeah.
if long as people don't lose track of focus on track and lose track or lose focus of what we're working at, what we're trying to put forth here. It's not just there's an entertainment side to things, but
right.
we people need to know that we do take this serious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, and we're trying to produce information and show results. Um, so yeah, like my YouTube channel. I mean, I have a lot of field videos on there.
Right.
And I can tell
Mhm.
you straight up, a lot of people respect what I do, but then again, a lot of people find it boring because I'm not one of those people that claim to have Bigfoot in them every time I go out there. Or yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
those are all the ones that have the BS alleged Bigfoot stuff in it. They have big time followers. I mean, they have 100 something thousand subscribers, and
Right.
every time they go out, they got something going on.
Right.
Yeah, I understand there's some areas that might be very active, but I mean, when you got to really struggle to put stuff out there, and every day, I mean, there's people who literally do that every day just to keep their followers go, and
Of
but
course.
I believe in quality over quantity, so that's who I am.
See,
So,
and the thing
I
of it
but
is,
understand.
this is the age of programming. You have YouTube, you have things like Paraflix, you have TikTok, you have Facebook, you have everything you could want at your fingertips to make a quality production. No matter what, if your thing is telling stories, if your thing is doing Bigfoot videos, if your thing is doing paranormal investigations. I know you have us, you have you. I know Dan with Supernatural Lost Adventures. You know, putting in good quality. And I think that's the thing about it is I call people that do the paranormal videos, and you see them all the time on TikTok or YouTube, where it's like every 2 seconds, did you hear that? Did you see that? Did you hear that? Did you see that?
oh
Mhm.
I
yeah,
think that people that put the time in and show, hey, this is really what it's like. And if you come to our events, we'll tell you a lot of times you're just sitting there looking at the wall, talking to the wall, hoping the
Yeah.
wall talks back.
Mhm.
That's about a good 90% of paranormal investigation. And I see the people that really showcase the true side of investigations, whether it's Bigfoot, UFO, paranormal. They're the ones that get the big following because they show you this is what it's really like. And people that can resonate with that be like, yeah, that's legit. Okay, I want to be with that guy. But you know, I guess kind of where I'm going at is like you said, you have plenty of videos, and that's great to have somebody watch. And this is what it's really like. And
Mhm.
you see a lot of those videos where they're out in the woods and you hear these calls. You know damn well that did not come from anything in those woods. That's
Mhm.
something recorded, and that kind of takes the sting out of people that have really cool experiences. You know.
Yep.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
It's
Uh,
it is it's when it comes to the filming part of it and doing all that. I mean, when we go in and we book locations and do this stuff, it's like there's no guarantee that anything's going to happen.
Mhm.
And that's the way we approach it. We go in and we work it the way we know how to work it and try to produce evidence. We might
yeah.
get, you might be in there 10, 12 hours, 2 nights,
Yeah.
and only come away with a couple good little pieces of stuff,
Mhm. Yep.
But that's what paranormal field's all about.
Absolutely.
Well,
They
it's
don't
like
respond
our
on command.
our last event at the Octagon Mansion. And I'm usually in the basement. That's kind of where I like to hang out at. And I've been down there with Lyle. I've been down there with Tana, and I was down there with Lynn, another member of our Haunted Nights crew. and things were happening left and right. I'm looking at her like, this usually does not happen. Usually it's like maybe a couple things in the first rotation, then it kind of dies off because, you know, you're kind of rolling the dice. Is like what Lyle said. There's no such thing as paranormal on demand. If there was, we'd all be millionaires right now because,
Right.
hey, come experience this. Or like for Bigfoot, hey, you're guaranteed to see a Bigfoot. But you're really rolling the dice anything you do, and it really makes you appreciate the little bit of evidence you get, because even though it's a small evidence, like maybe a partial of a Bigfoot print or a partial EVP, it's not much, but it's something that you got. So it makes you
Right.
appreciate it even more.
And the other thing too, and I know Lyle and Brandon will agree with this, you know, you may have, like you're saying, Brandon, you went down in the basement and had tons of activity. Somebody else could go down there and have nothing.
Yeah.
They necessarily do not, they may find one person that they want to talk to, and somebody else comes in, they don't want to talk to them. It's weird, but that's how they operate. Just like us now, you know, there may be somebody that we run into that I don't maybe care much for or want to have a relationship with. Well, the spirits are going to be the same way.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's whatever energy you bring to them.
Yeah. And that's why when we do our events and stuff like that, we always try to promote the fact of telling people when we start, bring good energy into the building, bring good energy into the areas that you're investigating, because if you don't, more than likely, they're not going to respond to anything.
Right.
And we try to, that's the one thing about our events, we try to keep people positive and keep them happy, having a great time. So it's all good energy. And and we, you know, and I think a lot of the people that come to them will tell you that they have a good time because of that.
Yeah.
And usually they get something out of that night that's happened for them. I know there's many people that have come that have never experienced anything. They leave by the end of the night and they're like, when can we come back and do it again?
Yeah.
You know, they're ready. So that's what it's all about for us. It's about making sure people have a great time and fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I know I wish you didn't have to charge prices sometimes for people to come do this, but, you know, you got location fees, you've got, you know, just travel fees, sometimes you got paranormal, you've got guests that you've got fees.
Yeah.
That's where the ticketing comes from.
Yeah.
And of course, trying to make sure that location gets their money.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But, you know, when it, like the investigation part comes back to when we did our work with you, Daniel, I mean, we never saw Bigfoot. But I'm going to tell you, we had a blast trying to find Bigfoot. That's for sure. And I think that's what it's all about on both sides. Having a good time trying to connect with the spirit or trying to connect with Bigfoot or whatever. Just bring that positive attitude towards it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, because I could recall, like, when I've had groups of people out there in the years past. I mean, we've had very close activity, the vocals, tree knocks, powerful tree knocks right there, you know, and all this activity we've heard the footfall and movement walking right around us, you know. I mean, these were groups of like 8 people, you know, 7 to 8 people, and again, with any group I've had out there that we've had activity, it was a very calm and relaxed approach. We weren't aggressive. We were calm, and I mean, especially at nighttime. I like hiking, exploring, checking out areas at night. But from my experiences, sitting around just shooting the breeze, around the campfire, and that's where a lot of activity, started, sparking up. I mean, there's been times out there. I'm the one. I don't know. I guess because I'm so used to zoning in out there, what's around there. I've had other people out there when we're sitting around the fire, and I've basically told everybody, it's like, it's going to start getting active. This is usually the time. If they're going to get active, this is the time.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you get people still chatting and everything, and I've gotten to the point where I've actually had to like, guys, shut up. I was like, you guys are missing out. I'm hearing this stuff, and all of a sudden, when they all dead quiet, then all of a sudden, boom, knock, bang, yells and screams.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, you guys could have been hearing a lot more if you shut up, but yeah, or talk quieter anyway. But but again, the activity spurred, from us being relaxed and calm. We weren't like I don't know, like finding Bigfoot and a whole production crew walking through the woods.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always found it more productive if you're going to bring people out there. I try to keep them like usually about 10 or no more than 10. I mean, I never tried a little bit more, but yeah, I just feel like you don't want too much as long as everyone's cooperative and doesn't go rushing through the woods. I mean, you want them to come to you, so but
it's a lot like, if somebody wants to come to your house and talk to you and you invite them in, if they start asking you questions like, why are you dead? How did you die?
Yeah.
How gruesome was your murder? And they start asking questions like that, or like yelling at me, calling me a coward, calling me stupid, saying whatever I did was in vain, then I'm not going to talk to you. To hell with you.
Yeah.
But if you come in and you start having a conversation, I know that you used to do photography. I'm also a camera person, and here's what I do. And they're like, I want to talk to you. To hell with everybody else. I want to talk to you. And I'm sure that probably goes the same thing with, maybe with the Bigfoot and the ufology and all that stuff. It's natural selection. It may not be us, but maybe, if Daniel, if you went back out by yourself, it would show itself to you. Or if the three of us would go out by ourselves, you never know when it's going to happen. You're spinning a big wheel. And that's what makes it more, I guess, gratifying is it doesn't happen all the time.
Right.
It's like playing the lottery, and occasionally you may hit, and sometimes you make it nothing.
Hey, Daniel,
Yep.
I
Yeah.
want to say thank you for having us. I've got to cut out. I got to go check on the little one and make sure he's in bed.
Oh, no problem. I'll send you the early termination fee. So
And thank
no,
to
thank
everybody for the really nice comments. Appreciate that.
definitely.
So it was
thank you,
good being on,
Tana.
and I appreciate it. So
Absolutely, it's been a pleasure.
thank you.
I'll move over a little bit. Let me move over.
But it's
Now,
like
see-
Dan here said,
Oh, go
I'll
ahead.
sit in the location for a couple hours, be quiet, and just listen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One of the coolest sensations we've had was at the Octagon Mansion one night. I think we were done filming there, and it was John Cushman, myself, and Lau just sitting on the couch just listening. And it's almost like the Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. If you just sit and listen, they will talk.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's also with the Bigfoot community. It's like,
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually had that same mindset, the thoughts that you just mentioned there. That's how I look at things out there. So absolutely.
Yeah, you definitely have to stay quiet at times. That's how, like at Octagon, like he's talking about how we picked up on the Whistler and different things like that. I mean, you can't always be talking, Now, there are times where, it's good to have your recorders going, and while you're just sitting there having a normal conversation, sometimes they like to join in, in our side. You'll pick up a lot of different things that come through on those audio recordings, but
Right. Now, I've told people, I mean, you don't have to not talk. I mean, because with my experience, I believe they're very curious because, like the encounter that took place in 2014, which the Beast of Elkhorn Lake is based off, that experience alone was, we were coming from the lake. We were walking in single file line. I was up in front leading everybody. I was the front man. I was the first to see and notice everything. But the thing is, we were talking. We weren't trying to be quiet. Our mission, our goal was just to head back to camp because it was late. It was just after midnight. We had almost a mile back to where we were set up for camp. But, you know, yeah, I mean, like I said, uh, either, you know, the whole experience there, we just noticed that they were very curious, you know. Yeah, I believe we caught them off guard because, you know, of other prior things that we noticed before having that encounter, like the deer that was right there.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know if they were hunting that deer, because like the other situation where I showed you where I had something walk away from me, there was a deer that got spooked away just prior to that. You know,
Right.
so. But yeah, that's a whole different story to get into, which I believe there may have been a possible connection there. So yeah, curiosity is a big thing. If they're in the area, either they're gonna get curious and come in, or it's just stay clear. Like the tree knocks I hear. A lot of people, there's a lot of different theories on what tree knocks are to people. Some think they are a warning, which I believe that's a good possibility. But it's also based off of experience of tree knocks I've gotten during the daytime. I've gotten tree knocks from my tree knock. Tree knock responses from mine, and I've gathered that as they're letting you know where they are. But then again, some of them could be a warning, like, "Hey, I'm down here. Don't come down here. There's danger down," or whatever. I believe that's a possibility. But I mean, they're a social species as far as I'm concerned. They communicate with each other. They work together.
Sure.
I'm sure you have a solo one that goes out and about. But some people believe they have what they call day watchers. There's ones that keep an eye on the area, while the others probably rest till they come out at night. But I don't know. I can tell you some stories of that I've heard from other people that told me of sightings that happened in that very area. People that didn't even know that I do Bigfoot research, that came out and told me these stories. I was like for example, real quick, the last company I worked for, this one guy, his name is Hunter, and he just started telling me the story because he does a lot of hunting and fishing out there, and just probably about maybe 2 miles from where I normally camp at. It was in the evening. It was still daylight out, and he told me the story about this dark reddish brown bipedal hairy covered Bigfoot came walking right out in front of him. It never really stopped. It had a slight glance towards him, and it continued on and went across the river in a few steps. Of course, the river out there, it depends on time of year. The water's usually, it's not a wide river, so it's in the deepest part of I've ever experienced out there, unless you step in a pool, which is 4 or 5 feet, but most of it's averaging a couple feet deep. So then again, there's parts of that river are dried up, so it's easy for anything to cross that in a couple feet. But yeah, I mean, this guy told me this story and didn't know nothing about who I was, which I found fascinating. So, I mean, there's Bigfoot out there. There's no doubt. So, but.
That's kind of how it is, even for haunted locations too. It's like you mentioned about day watchers and warnings. We see a lot of times in haunted locations where there will be a spirit that has a trademark, kind of like the whistler, or person that likes to play with equipment, person that likes to move doors, move this. And I mean, we don't know if they can communicate back and forth. Like, hey, let's take St. Albans for instance, because that's kind of like our home away from home. There's multiple rooms and multiple floors and levels, and each floor and level in almost every room has its own resident spirit. Now, I'm sure they can travel, but certain areas are known for certain spirits. But we don't know, can the person in the bowling alley communicate with the person up in the attic, or can the person in, the hallway communicate with so-and-so? Is there some sort of telepathic, communication that we don't know about yet? Same thing with Bigfoot is there's a group of them, can they communicate in a fashion that we don't understand? And it kind of goes back to when we filmed, you made the notion that sometimes they can mimic other animals. And that got me really thinking, that's amazing, because you could be in broad daylight and you're thinking you're hearing like a woodpecker, or you're thinking you're hearing some sort of normal creature during the day, and that could in fact be a Bigfoot. And that was fascinating just to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, owls. As far as mimicking, a lot of people believe that they mimic owls, which I'm not going to dismiss that. However, owls are very active at night on most nights out there. If it's warm and owls communicate with each other. I've heard owls do some god awful screams that people are not familiar with. I've had people get excited when they heard the owls scream right there at camp. And like I had a buddy of mine like almost jump out of his seat, like, dude, did you hear that? I was like, I wanted to be careful. He's thinking it's a squatch, and I was like, I don't want to insult his intelligence, but I was like, I won't mention his name. But I was like, that was just an owl, trust me. But it's just a lot of these animals. Yeah, they are known for doing several different vocals and tones. Even coyotes. But the most interesting owl sound I've ever heard out there, which I was questioning, it sounded very bassy, like a deep like sound, like, because sometimes owls, if they're up on a ridge or their vocals, when they sound off, their vocals bounce off these ridges and stuff, and depends how far back they are. Sometimes that could play a key role in the tone of their vocal.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when I've heard stuff like that, I've always questioned it. Could that be a Bigfoot? I mean, the possibility goes either way, if it's an actual owl or a Bigfoot. But so as far as them mimicking different animals, I believe that. To me, I guess an owl would be the most likely candidate that they would mimic, since you hear them more commonly at night. Of course, you got the whippoorwills out there, which I don't know if I've ever heard them mimic a whippoorwill, but but
you never know.
What was crazy though is the fact that how noisy the forest is, and then how quiet it can get if there's possibly that cryptid around or a Bigfoot around.
Yeah.
I mean, I really noticed that quite a few times, that how you hear all the sounds and then all of a sudden it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's quiet.
Yeah.
But that's when we were having activity, is when it was quiet.
Yeah.
And
no.
I was just about to respond to that. It's like, no, we all got kids sleeping at the house.
We'll do that next time we're together, buddy.
One of the coolest things, way back when, my first trip to Gettysburg, we took a ghost tour, and of course, 90% of a lot of the ghost tours in Gettysburg are outside. They show you where things happen. And one guy made a comment, one of the tour guides made a comment saying, if you're ever investigating outside, whether it's paranormal, and it was paranormal related, and you're trying to contact somebody, you hear the creatures of the night, and right when it stops, that's when you're about to have an encounter. And it's cool to hear Lyle say that and you say that, because that coincides with what he said years ago. I took that to heart. I'm like, that's a fair point. Do the creatures of the night have a certain sense when they know something's about to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Can they feel that energy shift that we occasionally feel?
Right.
You look at dogs in the paranormal field and animals, dogs and cats can pick up on things that we can't. And you see that a lot. People saying, well, my house is haunted because my dog will look in the corner of the room, or my cat goes crazy. Can other animals that aren't domesticated have the same effect, same ability?
Right.
So it makes you wonder.
Yeah. Well, back to the owls. Now, this is something I've shared more recently over the last few years. Is now, all my years of camping out there, I've always heard owls, and I hear them communicate back and forth, some close, some distant. However, I never realized this. I never picked up on this. But after hearing owls communicate, and after they shut up after a while, is when all the other fun activity starts up. And I'm trying to not get too far off course. Like, people always said that, like, during the day you hear crows sound off, and they know when there's somebody or something around, like a squirrel will cry and yell if there's a predator in the area. Well, the owls, I've always noticed at nighttime, like I said, when they communicate, after they're done communicating, is when activity starts up. I can recall back in 2017, I had a group of people out there. We were listening to the owls sound off. They were right there behind camp. And I did tell them this. I recall, I said, you guys listen. And I was telling them, I said, you guys got to listen. This is usually when other activity starts happening. And at this time, my father was actually camping with us. He had gone into his tent, because it was 60 degrees for him. It was cold because he was taking his heart medicine. He wasn't even in his tent for like maybe 10 minutes. And right across from camp, right inside the tree line somewhere, sounded like somebody took a big fat Louisville slugger and swung it on one of the big old bull pines at full force. Wow. And I never heard my father move so fast. He scurried out of his tent. And as soon as he popped out of his tent, he's like, I heard that. And I couldn't help but laugh. But I was standing up pointing. I said, look, I'm pointing in the direction where it came. I said, I told you, so because I'm always telling them about what I experience out there and what I hear sometimes. But yeah, I mean, that big tree knock was the first thing that happened after hearing the owls. And then that's when that same night was the movement that we sounded like we were being surrounded. Of that very same camp spot. That was at the campsite right across the entrance of the lake. And so, yeah, I believe owls have something related to this, or I don't know. I mean, just the way I feel about it, Mm-hmm. So, but real quick to answer this question right here, I've never experienced UFO activity out there in the woods, but I get questioned about a lot of different paranormal stuff from other people. If I've ever experienced certain things like seeing orbs, and I personally have never experienced any of those. But trust me, I'm always at full alert. If I do, I'm not afraid to admit to something that like orbs or whatever other people claim. But if I ever experience them, I'm not afraid to admit to something like that. But I just have not. So, but maybe someday I will. You never know. So. But
and that was one thing I was really paying close attention to in the woods and in the sky, was to see if there was any different types of lights that might have been floating around or something like that.
Right.
I've heard that too. If you start seeing those, and more than likely you're going to have something show up or some activity. So yeah, I was trying to watch that as well.
And Brandon, yeah. I like Brandon played that tone. What was that? Some kind of NASA? What exactly was that you played out there?
That was recorded sounds of, I think it was one of the planets shifting, but it was recorded sounds from NASA. And, and that's one of the big things. People think that it could be a extraterrestrial, it could be an elemental. One of the cool things, though, is even in the paranormal field is all the different theories and the things you could try. I'm thinking, what's the worst that could happen? And I'm thinking to myself, and it's funny, I didn't make the comment when we were filming. Right. I'm thinking to myself, shit, hopefully I don't conjure something from outer space while we're doing this, where next thing you look up and there's the mothership.
Right.
So it's kind of one of those things where it's like you try different techniques. It's like in the paranormal field, we try different techniques of trying to get a spirit to communicate, whether it's through a spirit box or through like an ITC device or just straight EVP rolling a digital recorder. And I don't know if it's something that followed us out there, or because that area actually is known for being haunted as well.
Right. I am familiar with that. Yeah.
And to actually get a EVP during the episode while we're not really looking for the paranormal was a really big treat. I remember Lyle messaging me when he was editing. He's like, dude, we got an EVP. I'm like, where? He goes, out in the woods doing the Bigfoot episode. I'm like, you're shitting me. We really got an EVP. And when he sent it to me, I'm like, we did. Like, that's really cool. And it's like, you're not even looking for it. It just happens to show up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were feeling that energy in the camp anyway.
That
was weird. I mean,
the vortex dome went off. So, I mean, that was
the vortex dome. And then just the walking, I think we were getting away from the back of the truck and coming around to the driver's side of it. Daniel, you were right there. Is when we started feeling that big wall of energy that came up on us. And that's why I was like, wow, what is going on here? So,
And if I'm not mistaken, that device that you had placed on the ground didn't that flickered once or twice, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Yeah,
It
I thought
actually,
so.
it actually flickered when we were coming back down the road as well to
And
come
that's
back
what's
to camp.
interesting. There was
Yeah,
nobody anywhere
nobody
near
in
it,
the
and I
camp. Yeah.
happened to look
Hmm.
over. Yeah, need to make that happen.
Oh yeah. Well, Josh, we've been trying to get him to come, buddy.
Absolutely, I will one of these days. I promise.
Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out real quick to anybody watching.
Yeah.
Josh Bender, he is in charge of Deadlight LLC. He makes hands down some of the best lighting you can use for anything. Infrared lighting, natural lighting. His is the lighting you see in the episode.
Yeah.
The infrared lighting.
Yeah, definitely.
And you see how great it shined. It lit up an entire road in the middle of the woods, in the middle, of darkness. And so anybody watching that films, if you're looking to document things or just use lights in the woods, hit up Josh on Facebook, or just like him and Deadlight LLC. You will not be disappointed. And that dude is top notch, man. Some of the best in the business.
Absolutely. Yeah, we love using his products. That's for sure. He's always been a big supporter of us, as well as us supporting him. Yeah. And anytime we get a chance to be around Mr. Josh, and we're trying to get him along to get to come filming with us some too. So hopefully one of these Hometown Haunts episodes, you'll see Mr. Bender there with us. So the beard. Yeah.
That name. I don't think I know, but that name, I might have seen it somewhere along the line. Yeah, but that name sounds familiar.
We have like his business cards at all of our events.
Yeah.
And we'll try to put up like one of his displays. But he makes the lights. He makes now he's in the motion panels, which are really cool. The motion trip wires are really cool. So anything that related, hit up Josh, and you'll thank us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, maybe we can get him out to the. He actually came to the New Hope event. He was.
Oh, okay. All right.
He came there, and maybe it would be nice to be able to try to get him up to the area here and see if he would want to come be a part of your event. If we could get him up, he can always come stay here at the house. That's for sure. So, Josh, we're throwing that out there at you, buddy.
Josh says, Supernatural, I know a guy.
Yeah.
That's another cool thing about being in the woods was the not being able to see really in front of your face. Now there are some haunted locations we've been to that are massive. St. Albans is one. I know when I don't know if Lyle, have you been to Waverly?
Have not. No.
So Waverly is a big place too. It's an old tuberculosis hospital in Louisville, Kentucky. Hot as balls. I recommend if you go visit it, go in the fall. Don't go in the summer. You'll lose 30 pounds at night because the heat's incredible. But anyway, like the death tunnels and the hallways are massive, but there's nothing like being in the woods in the dark and you're looking around like this is pitch dark, and it added to the ambiance looking for this thing, and I think we used it in the tagline for the show. It's moments of curiosity mixed in with minutes of fear. And it really is. I'm hoping it shows up, but then I'm kind of like, all right, now what's going to happen if it does? How far can I run? Do I have any jacklings on me I can give the guy?
Jacklings.
Yeah. It's
wow.
one of those things.
I think those were all the things that, and I know Brandon will tell you, I know you were already in the truck, in the vehicle. You were ahead of us heading out, and it was me, Tana, and Brandon in the truck heading out behind you. And I know poor Tana, she had a full-blown panic attack, man. I'm telling you. Well, as soon as we pulled out of the driveway, until I got up to where we stopped at Chick-fil-A and got her some food, I mean, she was freaking having a panic attack. She was terrified. And I totally understand. I understood. It's just she doesn't like the woods at night. I could tell many times when we were filming that she looked back at me like, "Well, you got me out here in these woods like this."
Oh, you can see it in the episode when she started answering those questions, kind of like, "I'm fine." He's ahead of me.
She was, but once we got back to the camp and and got that thing going though, and started doing the calls, man, she was totally on, and loved it. So, I mean, that's me too. My biggest fear, and I tell everybody whenever I talk, my biggest fear is the woods at night. I'm just not comfortable, and but you made it comfortable, even though wanted to stay about 5 feet away from you.
Yeah, the thing is, I spent a lot of time out there by myself, and even during the daytime, people see my videos where I'm hiking alone, and yeah, I guess it can be dangerous. I mean, but I've just been doing it enough to where, I mean, I guess the best way for me to put it is when I'm out there, I feel like I'm at home. You know,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's
so it's like,
Yeah.
location.
Us too. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. There's some moments when I'm by myself. I mean, I get that eerie feeling every once in a while out there. It comes over you. It happens,
Yeah.
because there's something out there alerting your whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it. But I do get those feelings. So, um, but yeah, most of the times like I said, most of the time I'm always calm and relaxed out there. Except for that same camp spot that we were in at night.
Mhm.
There was one time back in 2015, and not just a situation across the road.
Yeah.
Another time while I was hunting there, I was at camp there, and I was sitting there, just like this. The fire was right here off to my left. My vehicle was right there, and in the far distance, in the woods up behind me, I'm hearing like some movement. You could tell that it's distant. Then all of a sudden, I'm hearing what sounds like a stampede, and it's like getting closer.
Mm.
And I'm listening. Am I hearing what sounds like heavy foot? Because I don't know. I couldn't really make it out. And then all of a sudden, it's getting closer and closer. And I was like, that sounds like a bunch of feet running, stomping through the woods. Serious. I was like, it got to the point where it was getting so close. I literally got up out of my seat, turned around, faced the woods, and yelled out, "Hey!" I was by myself. I didn't know what else to think because this stampede, well, as I'm calling it, is exactly what it sounded like, was a stampede of some heavy footfall. And whatever it was, you could hear whatever did like a complete, like, whatever, 90-degree turn. I like turned and booked off just out of view, and you could hear them run across the road. I didn't know what the heck it was. They ran across, I grabbed my spotlight and my gun, and I was like looking in the woods, and well, first of all, you could see a bunch of deer like down in the. I got a glimpse of deer. You could see them running like in this little area, like back and forth. I said, "What the heck?" And I got to thinking. I said, "You know what? They were being chased."
Yeah.
I said, "That heavy footfall wasn't just from them. There was
Yeah.
something chasing them."
Wow.
And so, yeah, I was kind of on edge. Even after they ran away, I was like, I believe that's where like, I don't know. The thought was like, are they running in that area? I mean, is that where they run and push them to, or what? Because I mean, the deer. Yeah, I understand the deer bed down and feed in there. The water's over there. But but the thing is, my experiences in my encounters, the squatchers are over there. So I mean, I don't understand their pattern. I believe they come down off the high ridges, and come down to the low ground at night. But then again, they might have been maybe a different group of them or whatever, but they were pushing them through. But yeah, that was another time that happened in 2015. So
Have you ever this is just curiosity, trail canned the areas up in there to see if you could capture anything? Like
trail cameras?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually got 4 of them in the woods out there now. So
Oh, you do? Okay.
yeah, I've had them out there. I went and picked them up a couple months ago and took them home to review them. I've had coyotes, raccoons, and a lot of deer. But nothing out of the ordinary. But the cool thing I caught on it at that time was 2 bucks fighting each other with a doe right there. They were headbutting and everything. Yeah, I was like, how cool is that to capture that on video? So yeah, I actually went out about a week later and set them up. They've been out there for almost 3 weeks right now. So
Okay. Okay.
I plan on picking them up next weekend when I go out there. So
Well,
yeah, because
yeah.
I put them in this one area because I had them spread out in different areas. I actually had one down on the West Virginia side, and I mean they were all spread out pretty well. But so this time I actually put them all in the same area where I got most of the wildlife activity.
Mhm.
I just spread them out in different positions and angles, hoping that maybe I might capture a little bit more of something this time. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean it'd be great to capture a Bigfoot on them. That would be amazing. So
Right.
Would be.
Right.
yeah.
It definitely would. I was just thinking about that, about trying to get more coverage into an area, especially those areas that you know are active in there,
Oh yeah.
to see if you can actually come up on something.
I would love to have one of those thermal drones and just fly it over the tree line
Oh God,
and just
yeah.
see what you could see. Just
Yeah.
light it up.
Well, this is the time of year something like that would be, I think, productive when the canopy's down right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so give it another month or two, it's going to start being real thick in there again. So, but yeah,
I may
yeah.
have asked you this question, Dan, before. I don't know if I have or not, but I'm curious because I've heard people answer this question. Do you figure? Well, it's a two-parter. One, do you figure that Sasquatches have the same lifespan as known primates? And two, do you think they're sophisticated enough to discard of a remains once one may have passed away? Is there a reason why we have not discovered the remains of a deceased one?
Well, to answer the first part of the question, I've actually often thought of that myself. Um, well, that could go either way because there's a lot of people that believe that they are some type of human.
Mhm.
Then again, you got the ones that dismiss them being a primate altogether. Scientifically speaking, us as humans, we're human primates. Chimpanzees, gorillas, baboons, and so forth. Those are your non-human primates. Of course, yeah, your average lifespan of a non-human primate is usually up to 50 years, 35, anywhere from 35 to 50 years. Some in captivity have lived up to 50, 55 years. So it makes you wonder. So if they are anything different, they could live longer. So there's no scientific or no data or facts on that, but we can only make assumptions or on that. Um, your other question, where are the remains? That's always been uh, a very good question, especially when it comes from skeptics. Uh, you know, People say why we have all this technology, and people always in the woods, and this. Why haven't we found their remains? When I get questioned that, I always come back with another question. My first question is, well, we have bears, we have mountain lions, just to name a couple of examples of
Mhm.
predators. We have these species. We know they exist, but why haven't we found their remains of the ones that have died of natural causes?
Yeah.
And then with that being said, then I go into the best way I know how to explain is, well, one, bears, I'll use bears for example. Bears, even bears and cats, they know their time of death. When they become ill, a lot of them go into hiding. And sometimes they'll go down into a deep cavern or underneath some hidden fallen timber. And I believe over time they'll die off. Like I said, and then you got to consider the decay process and the other rodents and critters that eat away at the remains. Um, Another thing I like to point out to people too. Now, even with deer, like I have found deer kills and even old ones where I've accidentally kicked up their bones, not realizing it. But these are old deer bones where the moss, the earth has taken over.
Mhm.
And then again, you have to add in the leaf litter, the pine litter, everything that falls every year. It adds a coating to the ground. I call it a natural blanket to the ground. But so a lot of this adds more. It makes it more. Yeah, they make it more hidden.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, these species, when it comes to Sasquatch, my belief on them is one. There's a possibility, and I can't prove this, but there's a possibility when they go in, or when they die, we don't know this, but there's a possibility that they could be cannibalistic. Um, there's another possibility that they might bury their own dead. And the reason I'll suggest that is because our non-human primates have been observed doing that. That's entertaining the thought if they are anything similar to them. In my honest opinion, I do believe Sasquatch is some type of primate. Just as of right now, he's unclassified. We don't know where he falls under that line of primate. So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to speak where I'm not jumping all over the place here. um, so yeah, I mean, there's those possibilities I believe are right now where we could maybe consider burying their own dead, the other species being cannibalistic. And then again, just like bears and cats, when they go in, when they get ill, they go into hiding. We don't know where they hide. There's theories that Bigfoot lives on the ground. There's probably caves and caverns that we're not aware of. So yeah, to me, these are the possibilities. But again, we have to consider the bears and the cats. We haven't discovered them yet of their natural death. But yeah, I actually have found bear kills out in the woods. But you can see coyotes attack a bear. I've seen signs of evidence of what's killed those animals. I found bear hair in coyote scat. So yeah, I mean, other predators will gang up on the smaller bears. They might be either young or possibly even ill. But so yeah, I hopefully I made sense and not confused you too much.
So that's good.
Yeah.
And down there where Patrick is asking, what part of Virginia are you from? We're all from the Shenandoah Valley, from Augusta County, Virginia.
Yes.
And where Daniel, you investigate out in West Augusta area.
Yes.
So,
but
yeah, that's where we're from, Virginia.
Yeah, we
all live right here in Fishersville together, pretty much, right? Daniel, where do you live? You live in Fishersville?
No, I'm in Cremora. I'm about 25 minutes from you. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, same county, but yeah.
I just wanted to call that down there. I just wanted to answer that, but
yeah, I'm almost.
Another curious question from me for you: do you believe that government has any type of investigations and type of Bigfoot investigations, stuff like that? I just remembered seeing. It's like I said, I relate a lot back to Expedition Bigfoot because I tried to prepare myself before we went out with you, just by watching, which I think is probably one of the better ones. They were showing a lot of areas that were cordoned off by the government where there was a lot of activity and stuff that they were doing, and it was kind of like off limits. They couldn't go in it. Do you believe in any of that?
Well, honestly, I believe wholeheartedly that the government does know and are fully aware of these creatures or subjects, or and the same goes for a lot of our mountain lions. I know for a fact that they exist here in Virginia,
right.
And other surrounding states. And there's several other states where people have reported seeing these, and they call the authorities, and the authorities blatantly come out and tell that ain't what you saw.
Right.
I had people tell me that very same thing that responded to my blogs that live just in the surrounding counties. I mean, I saw one also in 2015. I wasn't alone. I had a buddy of mine at the time. We both saw it together, right out there across the entrance of the lake. It crossed the road on us. Yeah. So, hold on. I'm trying to get my thought. I'm losing my train of thought. So yeah, as far as the government authorities, I don't believe, the reason I believe they are not going to come out publicly and say such a thing for the same very same fact where they deny that we have mountain lions here, the local authorities and the DNR or whoever, because a couple things. I believe this is my theory and my belief on the subject of Bigfoot. Even with mountain lions, if the public was to become aware of this, if they would announce that, because there's people that go by what they say, people our followers by what every authority figure says. But if Bigfoot was ever pronounced to be an existing species, as many of us do know that he does exist, but if the government was to come out and tell the people this, and I think there would be a lot of legal issues that would start taking place. Well, we have this bipedal humanoid figure that's living and existing in our woods. Well, wait a minute. We're going to have to stop building these subdivisions. We're going to stop logging. I mean, all this economic work that's taking place because back when back in the early, it dates back from the 1960s up through the early 90s, but the spotted owl was discovered on a few different occasions. But the last time it was discovered, it got put on the endangered species list out there. I believe it was Washington State. And when that went on the endangered species list, the logging industry came to a dead stop. And I can't recall how long it stopped, but it put a hurting on the economy out there. And I believe for economic reasons, as well as the fear factor, I believe that's why a lot of them are going to be quiet about it. I mean, I've had game wardens come check up on me on camp, knowing that I put cameras out in the woods, and they'll tell you they don't want you leaving them out there. But if you're camping out there, and they don't mind if you use them while you're camping, but they said take them out when you leave. What do they want us not to see? I mean, what's out there that So I mean, yeah, I'm sure a lot of them are trained to say, hey, they're not allowed to have this. Make sure people are not having these out there. This and that. Yeah, I've had cameras stolen from me out there. Some good ones. But yeah, it's a chance you take leaving them out there. Right. It's public property. But But yeah, that's my take on it. I mean, between the economy and the fear factor, because if the public became aware of even the mountain lions, a lot of people would become fearful of, well, I'm not going out in those woods. I'm not going in that national park. People will stop spending money and spending the time to go out there, and who knows what else. But so, right. Yeah, I believe, I mean, if that makes any sense. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, thank you.
So sorry, I have a bad habit of rambling on when I'm explaining something.
No, it's perfect.
So, yeah.
I kind of like with the whole UFO thing. It's like people theorize that the reason why the government hasn't come out and formally announced they exist is because, what if the public thought that we're not in charge of the skies, and you have the whole religious thing, with, well, this is it, what is God? And I get that would be a gigantic floodgate opening up if they came out and said, Bigfoot exists. He's in the woods right here. It's a living thing. Well, is it man? Is it a primate? Does evolution come into play? I could see it opening up a giant floodgate that they would not want to have, because it would lead to pretty much anarchy with, what is real, what is not, what have we been told, what else may be existing that we don't know about that's been held back from us. Yeah. So I could see how that would be just a PR nightmare.
Right. Yeah, total chaos. And a lot of these, what's the word I'm looking for? Conspiracious. What do you call it?
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah. A lot of them will probably end up being proven real. Like, okay, these guys have been telling all these stories all these years. There's truth behind it now, Right. So, but
I think it's about ready to start happening with the UFO stuff.
Yeah,
because now you've got the government more involved. You're having more sightings. So I think we're on the edge of finding out more about that here very soon.
And I think it's even with the sea. You look in the ocean. For the longest time, the government was spent all this money to explore the depths of the ocean, and then all of a sudden, you can say the space race, you can do whatever you want to do, but all of a sudden, something must have happened to the point where they just want to go just to space, and they quit doing a lot of exploration of deep sea. So maybe what did they see that they did not want to see, and where they go back up? Does the megalodon still exist? Does creatures like the Kraken actually exist?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm envisioning in my head there's a giant book somewhere, like real. You just keep going.
Yeah. Well, all these different thoughts and theories and whatever these beliefs. You know what it boils down to, as far as the thought that runs through my head is, it's the movie from what's it, Lost World, I think it is,
Yeah.
where their adventures and journeys are based off of Jules Verne's books, it makes Jules Verne, these stories and these whatever. It was, for one thing, it was a fun movie, and the details they point out in the book, where they went on these journeys, they found like, hey, it does exist, it's real, this place is real. Makes me think that like you said, there's a book out there that's got all this information in it that we don't know about.
Yeah, exactly.
So absolutely. Tell you what, guys. For one thing, I appreciate you guys asking me questions, because I need practice, because I'm going to be on a podcast on Monday where I'm the guest. So it's they're going to be broadcasting out of 105.3 New Orleans. So
Wow.
Yeah. So
Nice. That's a big one.
yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it's a pretty decent one. The lady, the host of it, she told me, she said, "We're almost as big as Sasquatch Chronicles." I said, "No way." But they broadcast on all the different podcast platforms as well, YouTube and all the good stuff. So it should be fun. So yeah, absolutely. Tell you what, we're going to get ready to call it a night. But is there anything that you guys want to throw out there for the listeners? Because for the record, anything you want to throw out there, because this will also be on iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify. Because after I download all this, it goes. I put it on my online radio program, and it goes everywhere. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Lau.
Go ahead, Brandon. We're talking.
Well, if you want to find any of our upcoming events for Haunted Nights Paranormal Events, we are on Facebook, Haunted Nights Paranormal Events. But type in the whole thing, Haunted Nights Paranormal Events, and you'll find us. All of our events are there, and then all of the links to all of the ticket links are on our Facebook page. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Same with Hometown Haunts. We're only on Facebook right now, but if you follow myself, if you follow Lyle or Tana or even Daniel, I know he shared the links before. Everything you need is right there. We're really active on social media. We like to keep everybody informed. We have some upcoming events coming. We have, of course, next weekend we'll be in Gettysburg at the Gettysburg Academy, which is a really cool place. That was one of the original schools in Adams County, which involves Gettysburg. And it was also a field hospital after the Battle of Gettysburg. So that's a first location for us, with Dinner with a Ghost. Then we'll be at the Get Mansion right after that, and then we'll be at the Exchange Hotel. We just announced we're going back to Dunlora and Mineral, and then we back to St. Albans, back to Octagon. So we're going to be making a lot more announcements here very, very soon with all of our upcoming dates. We do a lot of events with the Wraith Chasers from the Travel Channel. Great guys. They're our brothers. And of course, all the stuff we do on Paraflix. I'll let Lyle take Paraflix. All the cool stuff we do on there.
Yeah, all the cool stuff on Paraflix. Miss Natalie's taking good care of us. We have our series called The Twisted Realm, which has been a part of Paraflix since the beginning, March of 2021. We do have our full first season there, and we've got an episode from season 2. Like I said, we've got 3 more season 2 episodes coming this year. And then, of course, we've got our new hot series, Hometown Haunts, that's getting a lot of attention. So our second episode is getting ready, like we said at the beginning of the show, getting ready to come out here within the next couple weeks. We've got a press release that's getting ready to come out on it, and then we'll be announcing the date. And we're lining up more of those filmings. So, if you do have a cool story, something that's happened, something about your town, something that you would like for us to come and document for you. And, we love to come and document, and we love to be able to come and do a little bit of investigating of what that particular thing is, whether it, like Daniel, Bigfoot, St. Albans, spirits, urban legends, who knows? cold cases, things like that. I mean, we want to take this investigative realm outside of paranormal as well. So UFOs, you got any sightings? You got anything that we can come document and share your story with people? That's what it's all about. That's what Hometown Haunts is. Proud of this series. Really, it's myself, Brandon, and Tana that do all the work. We just come. It's the three of us. Like Daniel, you experienced it with us. Brandon and I carry the cameras, and Tana's pretty much there for the investigation and her mediumship that she uses at times. And we have a blast. I think we have a lot of fun doing this series, and so just pay attention to that. If you haven't got Paraflix, I saw some people on here talking about it. Check it out. Really, I mean, great content. You're getting, believe it or not, you're actually starting to see more cryptid content on there as well. Ever since we released ours, next thing you know, you start seeing more, which is great because I want to see all I can of that. And, but everybody that's been in the chat, great friends of ours, people we don't know. We hope we get to meet you at Daniel's event coming up in June. And we're also going to be at the other one, Daniel, the Forest County. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yes, that's right. The Forest County Bigfoot Festival in Marionville, Pennsylvania. That's taking place June 9th, 10th, and 11th. So,
right. And we got to actually be a part of that one as a paranormal. So we're excited to come and share our story about what we do and about the Beast of Elkhorn Lake episode and stuff like that. So if you come out, we look forward to seeing you. And if you get a chance, check out some Haunted Nights events. We'd love to have you come and participate with us. So, but Daniel, thank you, bud. We appreciate your friendship and
thank you
and taking care of us. And we look forward to working together again soon, man.
Oh yeah, very much so. And yeah, real quick, I wanted to throw out there as far as Paraflix goes. If you guys could afford to get Netflix, Paraflix is so much cheaper. So much cheaper. I mean, I got Netflix. That's because I got a buddy of mine's login information he lets me have. So, but anyway, yeah, that's anywhere from $10 to $15 a month. But but yeah, Paraflix is got so much content on it. But yeah, if you have not watched it, you guys got to check out the Hometown Haunt series for sure. And real quick before we go off here, Lyle and Brandon, if you guys could sit tight after we go off air,
sure.
We'll go over. I wanted to go over a couple things real quick. So, and again, thank you guys very much. And as you know, we go live every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. However, there will not be a episode next Friday. I will be out in the woods. So I will share on the YouTube community section where I post other episodes and stuff that I try to promote. And also, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see other content that I promote. And yeah, I'll be a live guest on a show Monday night. I believe that was at 9 o'clock. Yeah, 8 o'clock Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central. So that should be interesting. That'll be live. So anyway, guys, thank you again for coming on. If you have not done so, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, I'll be back. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.